If you're a connoisseur of dread, a true aficionado of the horrifying, then lean in close, because friends, the future of fear is not just bright, it is blindingly terrifying. We're living in an absolute golden age for horror gaming, and the nightmare is only going to get deeper. Never before have we seen such a perfect storm of innovation, ambition and pure unadulterated terror, from indie darlings pushing boundaries with psychological dread and found footage nightmares to AAA powerhouses harnessing the full might of next-gen engines for visceral, heart-stopping scares. Body horror, cosmic horror, survival, psychological thrillers, creature features, the landscape is richer, deeper and infinitely more dangerous than ever before. Developers are experimenting with new mechanics, new narratives, and new ways to crawl under your skin and stay there. So, if you're ready to embrace the darkness, to confront the unknown, and to plan your next sleepless night for the next several years, then you're in the right place. Now, let's step into the shadow. Here are 10 more games that will define horror in 2025 and beyond. Reanimal is an upcoming survival horror and cinematic platformer developed by Tarsier Studios, the creators of Little Nightmares. Reanimal is shaping up to be a spiritual successor to Little Nightmares, but with a darker, more terrifying twist. In the game, you play as a brother and sister trapped in a hellish version of their home, trying to rescue 3 missing friends. The world is corrupted by mutated animals and surreal horrors tied to the siblings' traumatic past. The game unfolds across eerie islands, abandoned schools, and defiled convents, blending environmental storytelling with psychological dread. Tarsier Studios have aimed to maximize claustrophobia and tension, especially in co-op mode, where fear is shared. Reanimal is inspired by It Takes Two, Silent Hill 2, and The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, a mix of adventure and dread. The monster designs are deeply symbolic, reflecting the protagonist's emotional scars and memories. If you love the eerie charm of Little Nightmares, but crave something more psychologically intense and narratively rich, Reanimal might be your next obsession. Silent Hill Remake is officially in development, bringing the legendary 1999 survival horror game into the modern era. It is being crafted by Bloober Team, the same studio behind the critically acclaimed Silent Hill 2 remake. The original Silent Hill follows Harry Mason, a father searching for his missing adopted daughter Cheryl in the eerie, fog-drenched town of Silent Hill. As he delves deeper, he uncovers disturbing truths about the town's cult, his daughter's origins, and a supernatural force known as Alessa. The original game pioneered psychological horror in gaming, using fog and darkness to mask technical limitations and heighten suspense, symbolic monsters and surreal environments, and multiple endings based on player choices. If the Silent Hill 2 remake is anything to go by, then this remake of the original Silent Hill is shaping up to be something truly special. Clive Barker's Hellraiser Revival is a bold, grotesque, and deeply immersive survival horror game, developed by Saber Interactive and Boss Team Games, with Clive Barker himself directly involved in shaping its story, visuals and lore. It is the first fully fledged video game adaptation of Barker's Hellraiser universe. In this single-player survival horror, you play as Aiden, a man who accidentally unleashes the Cenobites, sadomasochistic demons, after tampering with a mysterious puzzle box called the Genesis Configuration. His girlfriend Sunny is torn apart in the opening scene, and Aiden must navigate a cult's hellish labyrinth to survive and possibly save her. Inspired by the Hellbound Heart and the first 2 Hellraiser films, the game will explore the twisted line between pleasure and pain, desire and torment. It will feature iconic Cenobites like Pinhead and Chatterer. Barker's influence ensures the game stays true to the franchise's mythos, while introducing new characters and settings. This game isn't just horror, it is a descent into a beautifully depraved nightmare. Resident Evil Requiem is the 9th mainline entry in Capcom's legendary survival horror franchise. Directed by Koshi Nakanishi, who also helmed Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, Requiem is being hailed as the most extreme Resident Evil game yet, not just in scares, but in emotional and psychological intensity. Set 30 years after the destruction of Raccoon City, the game follows Grace Ashcroft, an introverted FBI analyst investigating a string of mysterious deaths at the Wrenwood Hotel, the same place her mother died 8 years prior. Grace is not your typical action hero. She's easily frightened, analytical and vulnerable, making her a relatable lens for players. The game explores themes of trauma, memory and fear, with Grace slowly evolving from terrified survivor to empowered investigator. Notable game features include the ability to switch between first-person and third-person views anytime, a segment involving a stalker enemy known as Big Mama, a grotesque, towering female monster that relentlessly hunts you. Stealth mechanics and classic Resident Evil-style puzzles and environmental challenges are included. The game uses Capcom's RE engine, delivering hyper-realistic visuals including lifelike facial expressions and even sweat droplets. Rumours continue to swirl about the return of Leon S. Kennedy, though Capcom has neither confirmed nor denied his involvement. Dark Fracture is a first-person psychological horror game developed by Twisted 2 Studio. It plunges players into a surreal, ever-shifting world where the boundaries between reality and nightmare blur. Think Silent Hill meets Lovecraftian dread with a heavy dose of mental unravelling. You play as Edward, a solitary man working the midnight shift at a body farm, a real-life forensic research facility where human decomposition is studied. Haunted by a tragic past and barely holding himself together with medication, Edward begins to experience increasingly disturbing phenomena that challenges his grip on reality. The game explores themes of trauma, isolation and madness. Edward's descent is shaped by your choices, leading to multiple possible outcomes. Environments will shift and distort based on Edward's mental state. Edward's mental health affects gameplay, visuals and interactions. Nowhere is an upcoming Nordic-inspired narrative mystery horror game developed by Midnight Forge Ltd, blending psychological horror, detective gameplay, and Norse mythology into a chilling immersive experience. You play as a detective investigating the disappearance of a group of tourists in the forest of Norway. As you dig deeper, you uncover ancient secrets tied to Norse gods, Ragnarok, and the fading echoes of Viking-era worship. The game explores what happened to the gods after their worship ended. The forest itself becomes a character, twisting and corrupting as supernatural forces awaken. A mysterious horn signals the shift from reality to nightmare. Search for clues, inspect environments, and make your own deductions. Hide, run, or fight against stalking monsters lurking in the shadows. The game features an open-world design, which lets you explore eerie Scandinavian locations at your own pace. If you're into games like Amnesia, Soma, and Mundawn, Nowhere might be right up your haunted alley. Ritual Tides is an upcoming first-person Lovecraftian horror game developed by Verpaint Studios, a new indie team made up of industry veterans from Rockstar, Telltale Games, and Ubisoft. The game plunges players into a surreal nightmare set on a fictional British island steeped in ancient rituals, cosmic dread, and psychological torment. You awaken washed ashore on a desolate island with no memory and only one goal: uncover that island's horrific secrets. As you explore, you'll encounter grotesque enemies, cryptic symbols, and a creeping sense that reality itself is unraveling. The mystical island is tied to ancient rites, forgotten gods, and eldritch forces that stir beneath the waves. The narrative is heavily inspired by H.P. Lovecraft's cosmic horror, focusing on insignificance, madness, and the unknown. Utilizing Unreal Engine 5, the game promises to feature stunning visuals with dynamic lighting and environmental detail. Gameplay that focuses on your ability to hide, run, or fight. Combat is minimal and tension is high. There'll be plenty of diverse and grotesque creatures designed to unsettle and surprise. The island changes as you uncover its secrets, blending reality and hallucinations. The game will place a focus on existential dread rather than just monsters with epic atmospheric immersion. Every sound, shadow, and whisper is designed to build unease. If you're into games like Amnesia, Call of Cthulhu, or Soma, Ritual Tides promises to be a haunting new entry in the genre. Ill is an upcoming first-person survival horror game developed by Team Clout, a studio made up of horror veterans from film and gaming industries. Ill is already generating buzz for its visceral body horror, cinematic storytelling, and hyper-realistic physics-driven gameplay. Set in a decrepit research fort, Ill follows a protagonist caught in a nightmare of grotesque experiments, mutating creatures, and a mysterious evil force. The facility has birthed horrific beings known as aberrations, fused human-like monstrosities that stalk the industrial corridors. Gameplay highlights include realistic dismemberment in which you can tear apart enemies with grotesque detail, bones, organs, limbs all react dynamically, use the environment to your advantage, collapse rooms, trigger traps and manipulate debris. Supposedly, enemies will react to your actions with disturbing human-like reflexes. Team Clout's developers have worked on horror films and series like Longlegs, Until Dawn, VHS Beyond, and It, Welcome to Derry. That experience bleeds into Ill's presentation. The Occultist is an upcoming first-person psychological survival horror game developed by Dalor and published by Daedalic Entertainment. It centers on Alan Rebels, a paranormal investigator who travels to the fog-shrouded island of Godstone to uncover the fate of his missing father and the dark history of a cult that once tormented the land. The setting is Godstone, an isolated and ominous island, deserted since the 1950s after a macabre cult conducted grisly rituals and experiments that damned its inhabitants. Alan is armed with a mystical pendulum, which will be your key tool within the game. It possesses 5 unique mechanics to manipulate the environment and engage with supernatural elements. The game places a heavy emphasis on survival horror, and due to this, there is no direct combat. Instead, players must rely on stealth, evasion, and tension-filled exploration. The Occultist has generated considerable excitement for its eerie narrative, atmospheric depth, and the innovative mechanics, particularly the pendulum-based gameplay. If you're into psychological thrillers with immersive gameplay and a haunting soundtrack, this one's shaping up to be a standout. Dark Web Streamer is an upcoming psychological horror RPG and streaming simulation game that plunges you into the eerie depths of a fictional 1990s-style dark web. You play as an occult streamer trying to survive and thrive in a procedurally generated world filled with hauntings, rituals, and bizarre internet culture. The game features some management simulation mechanics, such as the need to balance your skills, social stats, money, viewers, and relationships while growing your channel and staying alive. Every playthrough is unique, with randomized events, NPCs, items, rituals, and web pages. Your choices shape the narrative, and NPCs live their own lives with dynamic personalities and speech styles. Surf a surreal, procedurally generated web filled with creepy marketplaces, strange entities, and disturbing content. The game explores themes of fame, parasocial relationships, and the psychological toll of content creation. The aesthetic is deeply rooted in retro internet culture from the 90s and early 2000s. If you're into games like Pony Island, World of Horror, or Cult of the Lamb, this might be right up your alley. There you have it. That was 10 up-and-coming horror video games releasing in 2025 and beyond that you need to know about. Which game are you most excited to play? Or is there a game that didn't make the list that other people should know about? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.